Time Preparedness channel. Today's video is going to be a reply to Palmetto Prepared. A couple weeks ago, he put out a video that hindsight is 2020, looking back at this whole events that have happened this year, what he would change, what he would stock up on, and what he would kind of change if he could go back in time. This is going to be my reply to him as well as kind of my story in itself. So one of the first things that he noticed got going very quick was all of your cleaning products. Lysol, bleach, Germ-X. So I noticed that all of the cleaning products started getting going whenever my work stopped stocking them. At my work, we had Lysol wipes, the Lysol in a can, 409, and Germ-X. And that stuff just kind of up and vanished. Here at home, we keep some stuff on stock. About the time that this stuff hit was about the time we were running out. And so we did run out of Lysol wipes. We did run out of some cleaners. We were lucky to swap over to a different cleaner. Works just the same. Definitely your cleaning stuff got going quick. Number two, he mentioned food got going quick. You see, for me, this came in two waves. Wave one was before school let out. And so it was all of your meat products and all of your frozen food products. Then about a week or so later, when school was officially closed for the year, that's when I considered the second wave hit. So during the first wave, everyone ransacked all of the frozen foods, all of the meat section, all of the hurricane supplies were still there. All of your canned goods, your instant meals, mashed potatoes, oatmeal, grits, Pop-Tarts, cereal, all of that stuff was still there before the school let out. And whenever the school let out, you had a lot of parents that were also out of jobs and said, dang, I need quick meals for my kids. You know, now instead of feeding them at school, I'm feeding them at home. So that's when that second wave came in and just wiped the shelves. All of your staple products was going with the first wave, your eggs, milk, bread. Your second wave, all of your non-perishable items got going. Did this affect us? Yes and no. But after that initial wave, then a lot of people had, a freezer full of food, a pantry full of food, so they kind of stopped going out for fear of the virus. Me and my wife, we went out like once a week, picked up whatever we needed. We never ran low on anything, but we would just go in there and whatever they had, we would pick up. So we never feared like our life was in danger by going out. Could we have sat at home for 3 to 4 weeks, if not longer, and rode this thing out? Yeah, absolutely. One of the events that we did face was actually 2 power outages. So my town specifically had a 36-hour power outage. All of these people who had went out and panic bought and had all of this food in their fridge and their freezer, well, then the power went out and then they eventually threw it all away. 36 hours without your freezer running, you should be good. But a lot of people, the first thing they do as soon as the power goes off is they stand there with the door open and go, oh right, I can't cook anything. Then they shut it. Then an hour later, they do the same thing. The coldness of your freezer vanishes. So all of the food that's in there does eventually go bad. And then again in April, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, my whole county was struck with the EF3 tornado that came by. Some places were out of power for up to 10 days. David and them, who live 20 miles away, they were out of power for 4 days. My sister, some of my friends who lived closer, they were out of power for 7 to 10 days. Unless you have a generator, everything in your fridge and freezer, you might as well throw away. Not only did you have the virus, and you had people panic buying, so there was no food, whether you hit 2 power outage on top of it, you're throwing everything you have in your fridge and your freezer away. You don't have a job to go out and buy stuff. So now what? A simple $200 generator would have kept their fridge running, would have kept their freezer going, and they wouldn't have had to throw it away. The third item that Anthony mentioned was ammo. This is where I fall short. Yes, I have ammo, don't get me wrong. But do I have enough ammo? You never have enough ammo. I should have bought more ammo when this thing first kicked off. I'm hoping that it's going to wind down, and after elections and all this stuff, ammo is going to be back on the shelf. Everything else is starting to come back. Ammo's not one of them. You can still find ammo, but it's astronomical prices. And same thing with silver and gold. I do invest in silver a little bit, not necessarily for barter and trade, but more for inflation type thing. Before this thing kicked off, silver was like 16 bucks an ounce. Now It's $28, $29, $30 an ounce. I should have bought a couple more ounces of silver, waited for it to double in price, and then went around and flipped it, went around and sold it. One thing that Anthony didn't mention, and I don't know how he was affected, but my wife and his wife were both pregnant during this time. So, Anthony, if you're watching, let me know how you and your wife were affected by this, by being pregnant. I couldn't go to any of the appointments. So, she's going there by herself, alone, all the time. She went to the hospital a couple times, and I had to wait outside. So, she's going in there for stomach pains, not knowing what's going on, and I couldn't go back with her. Luckily for us, when she did have the 3 babies, I was able to go to the hospital with her, I was able to stay with her, but while the children were in NICU, only one person per day could visit them. We left, they were still down there for a couple weeks by themselves, one person at a time, but both parents could visit, but not at the same time, even though you rode together. So I didn't get to see my boy or my girls until like the 3 weeks after they were born, 4 weeks after they were born. Whenever we brought them home is the second time that I got to see them. So his number 4 was savings and stimulus package. There was a bunch of people who were counting on that stimulus money. I know a bunch of friends who, as soon as they got that stimulus check, it was gone. Buying new guns, buying new ammo, buying X, Y, and Z, and not having enough food on their table to feed their family. Was the stimulus check nice? Yes, don't get me wrong. I know it's a cash advance pretty much because you're going to pay for it next year on taxes. And yes, we did little projects around the house that we were planning on doing anyway. But we made sure that our pantry was stocked, we made sure that our bills were paid, we made sure that we were going to live the same life with or without it. So while our income has shrunk, we're learning how to get by with less. We're learning what we can and can't spend money on every month. Our bills are still paid, our car is still paid, our house is still paid. But there's a lot of people out here, as soon as they got that stimulus check, they went out and bought a brand new TV. They went out and bought a brand new car. These are the same people who get their tax money back, and by the week's end, it's gone. Before you go out and you purchase a new gun or a new bag or new ammo or new whatever, think to yourself, 6 months down the road, if my car breaks down, do I have enough money to drop $1,000 to fix it? Or am I going to have to go in debt to make sure I get a ride to work? Having money set aside and not having to sell anything, not having to get rid of anything, is very beneficial. The last thing he talked about was the election coming up and hurricane season. It's going to be a wild ride for the rest of the year. If you live in a city or a town that held a protest and it got violent, chances are it's going to happen again. We had a true peaceful protest the next town over. People standing on the side of the road with their little picket signs. Cool. Is there a chance that some bad seeds could get in there and that goes south? Absolutely. And you need to prepare for that. If you had protest in your town, chances are it's going to happen again. So what I would recommend is on election night, watch the results and have a place to go in case it doesn't go the way that people want it to go. To which town you live in, that might be different than which town I live in. As far as being prepared for a hurricane, last Wednesday I put out a video on 3 natural disasters that happened in a span of 10 days. One of them was a hurricane. Yes, it's still hurricane season, guys. It is still going to be winter season here in a couple months. You need to be prepared. You need to be ready for power outages. You need to be ready for icy road conditions, for flooding, for an actual hurricane to hit your home. You need to be ready for this type of stuff. Just because other events are going on does not mean that these events won't happen. We were already in the midst of the virus. We had a freaking twister and 10-day power outage. Go out and restock your supply and be ready. Leave down in the comment section some items that you wish you would have stocked up on or bought extra of before this whole thing kicked off. Definitely go check out Anthony's video at Palmetto Prepared. It's going to be in the link in the description. If you're not a subscriber to his channel, he puts out some awesome content, so go subscribe to his page. That's all I got for today. T2 out.